right, guys, what's going on? Welcome in. So it's episode 12, Jetscentral, Let's Talk Jets radio podcast. Tyson, I'm kind of scared to ask you, how's it going, man?
I'm discouraged. I'm demoralized. I'm angry. I'm frustrated. I'm annoyed. Jets football, come get some, man, right? Because what a difference a couple weeks makes. It's like there's like more questions than answers, and it's just like, I can't believe we're here again. I mean, what do you think? You had to be like, what was your initial reaction to it? Like, you had to be just out of your mind, right?
Well, so first off, I always kind of just come up with the titles like after we, do the podcast episodes, just kind of the stuff that we cover. This one I might just title it episode 12, Tyson snaps. Tyson finally snaps. No, I mean, it was honestly one of those games where like in the first half, like I felt like everything was pretty expected, right? Just the typical Jets, failing on third down, starting out slow again. And then the second half hit, and I'm like, okay, the Jets are typically one of these teams that once they settle in, they lock in, the defense clamps down. And we're kind of just waiting for the offense to do something, right? When are they going to get in the end zone, or is it just going to be, a continuation of field goals and 3 points all night? And to me, we all know this. The Jets are a second half team.
Yep.
But just Monday night, MetLife Stadium, big AFC game. It just didn't look like we had it. It really felt like, to me at least, like the Chargers just did everything better. They threw the ball better. They ran the ball better. They were flagged less. They tackled better. They called a better game. And it's not to say that the Chargers like went out and just humiliated the Jets or anything like that. Like they had that special teams play and whatnot. I felt like the defense did a good enough job, right? I mean, if you're looking at Herbert's numbers, what was he? 16-30, 130 something yards, no touchdowns. Like, what more can you ask of a defense?
Yep.
Right? Like, you're constantly wreaking havoc against Mahomes, against Jalen Hurts, against Josh Allen.
Yep.
Right. And here's just another like franchise quarterback, one of these great quarterbacks in the league today that come into MetLife Stadium or that play the Jets defense, and he struggles. But it's the offense that can't get it going. And so when I was watching that fourth quarter, specifically that last drive, I had my headphones in and I was just like watching Uzama drop that TD. I was just sitting there emotionless, like, all right, God, like, let's just get I'm almost at a loss for words, to be honest with you, man. Hopefully, I will say this though, before we kind of, continue talking about the loss here. The silver lining, I know not many people want to hear it, but the silver lining, man, we are 4-4. We're not 2-6.
Don't even break that out right now. Don't even do it. Don't even give me the 4-4 speech right now. It's too early. Because, dude, here's the deal. They played horribly against the Giants. The expectation was they played terribly against the Giants. They got lucky to win. Fortunate. So my expectation was they're going to realize we really played horribly. Now we're going to bounce back on Monday Night Football and have a great performance all the way around. They were sloppy. They were outcoached. The penalties were ridiculous. Drop passes, fumbles. It was a lack of discipline, lack of a focus. It was embarrassing. It's some of the worst offensive football we've ever seen in our lives, dude. And it just keeps getting worse. It's not getting better. It's getting worse. Third down, complete joke. They're not even getting into the red zone anymore. Don't worry about the red zone inefficiency. They're not even getting into it, right? And it's like they're justifying excuses. They're justifying losses, and there's no accountability, and there's no leadership. And on offense, like, we can go like to the quarterback and everything like that. Like, they all played terribly. Like, and you can start with the offensive line. The first thing they did was they moved Max Mitchell to guard. He never played guard before, right? To get Billy Turner in there. Billy Turner was horrendous. Like, that decision alone caused problems because Bosa and Khalil Mack could do whatever they want. They could have had 4 sacks apiece if they really wanted to, right? Like, that decision right there was the start of a problem, wasn't it?
100%. I felt like Bosa was dominating. I think he had like 2.5 sacks on the night. Just the right side of the offensive line like kept collapsing. And it's just like wherever you turn, right, offensively, it's just a disappointment. I feel like literally the only 2 players that don't disappoint on like a weekly basis, Garrett Wilson, Breece Hall. And granted, wait, say what?
And they both fumbled.
Yeah. I mean, it's tough to watch because, again, like, no matter where you turn, like, you're looking for a good quarterback play. Not there. You're looking for, good offensive line play. Not there. We're talking both run blocking and pass protection. Can't do either.
I don't mean to cut you off, but dude,
go ahead.
Just with the offensive line, like what I don't understand is they were struggling mightily. They were getting their asses manhandled, right? Make adjustments in your formations. Make adjustments with your play calling. To go empty backfield is amateur hour. To not roll him out more, amateur hour. To give him help, like the things just don't make sense. Have they ever used the backfield with Dalvin Cook and Breece Hall at the same time? Have they ever done that? If you have to go old school, run the ball formations, go for it. You got to figure out ways to have better protection. And the thing I don't understand is when somebody's struggling, they never take them out ever. Like, right? Have you seen, like, if Billy Turner's getting his ass beat, do they ever say, you know what? Let's take him out or let's move, like, in-game, make an adjustment. The adjustment is, you're terrible. Let's move Max Mitchell back to right tackle and do something else, right? Was Newman that bad at center that you had to put Tippmann there? You could have put Tippmann at guard, Mitchell at right. Like, you could have tried that.
That's what I actually thought was going to happen.
Me too.
Because we didn't really know what the starting lineup was going to be. I thought it was going to be Newman at center, Tippmann at guard, Max Mitchell at right tackle. And then it's like this, and I get it, the best five and whatnot, but it's just like at what point does the lack of chemistry, the lack of continuity, constantly changing positions, constantly moving, like you can't go in a bunch of directions at one time. Like you can't move in a straight line. If you're going left, then you're going right, then you're going backwards, then you're going diagonal. Like what's the expectation from the Jets offensive coaching staff, right? And two, somebody else that I don't want to let off the hook here is Joe Douglas. I think he deserves a ton of blame for the lack of depth, for the lack of a sense of urgency, if you will. Just kind of, we kind of talked about it in the last pod that we did. There is that like arrogant kind of attitude, whether it's Hackett, whether it's Saleh, whether it's Joe Douglas, just like, we know what we're doing. You guys don't know anything. You just have to wait until it all clicks. And then once it does, we're going to be fine. But it's like, okay, we're in year 3 of Zach Wilson. We're in year 3 of Robert Saleh. We're in year 4 of Joe Douglas, because he was brought in from, with when Gase was here, and it's week 10. How much more do we have to wait? How many more free agents do we have to bring in? How many more draft classes do we have to? Joe Douglas has had 6 first-round picks. He's had more first-round picks than the average GM. He's spent over $350 million since he's taken over. He's drafted a quarterback at the top of the draft. I know Aaron Rodgers got hurt. Obviously, I'm not putting that on JD here, but, and this is another thing that we talked about last week. If Rodgers comes back, right, he's out there slinging the football, looks great, like ahead of schedule, totally awesome. Are we really going to put him behind this offensive line? That would be, to me, malpractice.
No, and Joe Douglas, he took a calculated risk with Dwayne Brown, blew up in his face. He brought in Billy Turner. Terrible. He was terrible in the preseason. Like, the free agent class that Joe Douglas put together has been bad. All of them. They're not good. And you brought them on, and none are contributing. Randall Cobb's not even active. Alan Lazard's been terrible. So you look at the offensive line, has been a mess.
Not to cut you off, McCole Hardman, gone. Dalvin Cook,
worthless.
Non-factor. And it's like, and I'm not sitting here bashing Douglas, saying he's the worst general manager in football. He's had some really great finds, but at the same time, we have to hold him to the same standard of the other 31 NFL GMs. And it's frustrating as hell, because it does seem like, and my brother is a big Bills fan, and he kind of says the same thing about their offensive skill players and skill positions, where it's like they, at least the sense that he gets is like, the Bills are just happy with Stephon Diggs, and everybody else in that room, the wide receiving room, the running back room, they're like, they overrate their own players, or they maybe hold them in a higher regard than what they actually are. The Gabe Davises of the world, Shakir, the slot receiver that they brought in from Boise, and it's like, we're fine, we're okay, but it's like everybody watching the Bills, Cincy, KC, everybody knows that they need more help. Josh Allen needs somebody else to throw the football to. And I feel like with the Jets, it's just kind of the same thing, where it's just like fans, media members, the other 31 other teams in the league, defensive coordinators, defensive-minded head coaches, they're all looking at the Jets and they're saying, man, that team has a great defense. They have young studs all over the defense. They have a great special teams unit. They have some awesome veteran pieces that have won playoff games, but the offense is the worst in football. We know this. We're going to pin our ears back. play on our toes. They're not going to push the ball down the field. They don't change it, if something's not working, they don't really adjust.
Nope.
They don't go outside their comfort zone. They stay within their 15-yard box, and it's frustrating as hell.
Dude, it's frustrating because they have no identity on offense. They can't run the football. They can't pass the football. And they can't score points. That's kind of a problem, right? So the offensive line the offensive line's a complete mess. It is. It's a complete mess. The play calling will drive you insane. The Jets have to lead the league. I'll give them credit for this. They have to lead the league in 3-yard passes. That's all they throw. They're the only team where you go play action pass, which usually opens up all these vertical plays downfield, and it's a check down to the running back. What are we doing? So now it's like the defenses, they know how to beat the Jets offense. Breece Hall, screen pass out of backfield. Look out for that. Look out for the little Garrett Wilson slant or little like on the sideline. Right? And that's it, dude. There's nothing else. It's a 15-yard offense that they're going to stack the box and say, Zach Wilson's not going to beat us because he's not allowed. Either he's not allowed to or he doesn't know how to. And if we're going to be honest about Joe Douglas, and dude, we talked about this 3 months ago, maybe 4 months ago, is going into this season. If we're being honest, we said Zach Wilson should never see the field. Not if Aaron Rodgers gets hurt. No, even if Aaron Rodgers played healthy, the backup should have been somebody else. And we have proof of it. We said it months ago. Brissett, Minshew, whoever you want, a veteran backup, Zach, the whole year off. So then Aaron Rodgers goes down. Dude, we talked about it the next day. The next day, that Tuesday, we both said, go get a veteran quarterback today. He's ready to play in 2 weeks, and we move on. The Jets waited 3 weeks to do it. They bring Trevor Siemian here, and the guy's he's on a practice squad. He's not even eligible to play. So Joe Douglas is that arrogant. They've doubled down on Zach Wilson. They tripled down on Zach Wilson, and they're going down with his ship right now. And it's embarrassing because the kid is swimming. And the perfect example of that is the one play where the pocket collapsed. He ran forward. He could have literally ran for 8 yards. He threw that little shuttle pass to Michael Carter, who got creamed. I'm like, he is swimming, dude. And the Jets don't take him out. They let him sit there. And like, my argument is this. They're worried about Zach's psyche, right? They don't want to hurt his feelings. They don't want him feeling threatened. They don't want to ruin his confidence because they keep telling, when somebody keeps telling you how confident somebody is, you know he's not confident. It's always the opposite. They're trying to put it in the air. Like, oh no, he's got a lot of confidence. He's not playing like it. He's playing like he's scared to make mistakes. And now he's fumbling the ball more, which is even worse, right? So if you put Trevor Siemian as your backup quarterback, you're putting him on notice. If you say Tim Boyle's getting first string reps, you're putting him on notice. What do? Nothing. They let him keep playing and watch. And now the defense is looking at him like they looked at him last year as, kid, you're killing us because we have a championship caliber defense and we cannot win games with you. And you know who else knows that? The opponent. When the Chargers get 14 points, dude, they won and they know it. Look at their play calling. They didn't open things up. They didn't have to. Do you honestly think when a team scores 14 or 17 points against us, they're worried about scoring more? Like, nope. Control the clock. We'll do a very conservative offense, and we will keep punting with no problem because this Jets team cannot score. It's a fact. It's terrible, dude.
Yeah, and it's like, I mean, man, you can just go down so many different avenues with it. Third downs, red zone, whatever, starting slow.
The scripted plays. How about the scripted plays? Dude, the scripted plays are 15 plays you practice every day. Zach Wilson should be able to throw those balls in his sleep, right? The first 2 plays on Monday night, he sailed both passes. And right then I knew him, like, I've seen this before. Because,
I will say,
this history, dude, this is what he does. We saw this last year. The same nonsense.
I will say, though.
Don't do it.
We just talked about the O-line. Look, Zach is not the answer. No. You know, it is what it is. Everybody knows that. But the offensive line is like, it's not just Zach. I am absolutely disappointed in Nathaniel Hackett, the 100%. System, the play calling, everything, the lack of adjustments, the game planning throughout the week, the inability to even attempt to push the ball down the field. Even like, this is one thing too, I've been saying in, a couple of videos, and I'm sure we mentioned it too on the podcast. It's like, even if we throw it 3 to 4 times down the field and they're all incomplete, they could be thrown into double coverage or overthrows or whatever. At least you're trying to where the defensive coordinator or whoever's calling defensive plays, the safeties in the back end, they're like, hold on a sec. We know Zach has a good arm, and they're actually trying to push the ball. So we can't just the second Wilson is snapping the football, we're moving up, right? No, there's no downfield threat. Nope. This offense doesn't have any speed.
Well, you got Gibson and Taylor. You have it. You have the guys. They failed to use them. They did one.
Well, let me ask you, how many times has Xavier Gibson, ran a go route?
Nope, they don't. It's just, but dude,
you can't even think of one time.
But see, and the question I had for you is, can you tell I'm annoyed? This conversation drives me crazy. I'm so tired of talking about this lousy offense. But the thing is it the play calling? Is it Hackett's offense, or is it Saleh saying limit the turnovers? Let's keep things conservative because I have faith in my defense. Because the one interview with Zach, he's like, no, it's not the offense, it's my decision making. Well, if it's your decision making, dude, that's a bigger problem. But like, there's got to be like, and the thing is, and I'm kind of down on Saleh right now too, because while you're watching the game in action, Saleh is a CEO head coach. He watches the offense, he watches the defense. He doesn't call plays. He just oversees everything. If you're watching this offense be stuck in mud, how is you, other than standing there like a statue with a blank stare on your face, how do you not go to Hackett and be like, dude, take some shots downfield? They're stacking the box and they're not scared of what we're doing. We've got to change things up. Have you ever seen him walk on the sideline and be like, hey man, change this up, like be more active? He's like a zombie. He's like a statue. He's a zombie.
Well, he reminds me of Todd Bowles.
100%.
Todd Bowles would literally
100%.
stand in the same spot. My brother would make jokes like back in the day when we would watch the Jets during that era. Like Bowles would stand on the sidelines. By the time like the game is over, and everybody's walking off the field, there'd be like foot in impressions into the turf.
It's crazy.
And the one actually, you know what? Before I kind of keep diving into it, I just want to read off some numbers, some team rankings here. Too. I know you're at the edge, but and this is not going to help. But let me just run through them. So the Jets average 16.5 points per game, which is 30th in football. They average 272 yards per game, 31st in football. This is probably the worst stat on here. When it comes to third down conversion or conversion percentage, it's at 22%. Last in football at 31. Like the next best team is the Cleveland Browns at 31%. So there's a massive difference. And if you talk about the teams at the top, like who's the best team at converting third downs, that's in the 50s. So it's not like, they're completing 80% or 70% where it's this huge margin throughout the NFL. It's like 50 through 45 is like a massive chunk. Yeah. And then you have some 30s, and then you have the Jets down here literally last at 22%, so far down the scale. It's just off. I mean, we were 3 of 17 against the Chargers. That's horrendous. 32nd in red zone TD conversion rate, 31st in touchdowns per game. And then if you flip it and you look at the defense, they're top 10 in yards allowed, points allowed, red zone, and opposing touchdowns per game. So, I think that speaks volumes about the defense because they're constantly being put back on the field, whether it's turnovers, whether it's just 3 and outs or punts. It's just like, I'm at the point as a fan, like I'm a defensive guy first. I feel bad for Saleh. Like at what point is Gardner, Reed, Mosley, Quinnen, Quincy, Whitehead, whoever it's going to be, at what point is the realization going to seep in where it's like, what are we doing here? Like we're being asked to play at an all-time elite level. Hey, can you hold Herbert and Mahomes and Josh Allen and Jalen Hurts and Dak Prescott to 17 points a game every single week, right? When the game is tailored towards offensive football, can you guys hold them to 13, 17 points? Because our offense, we all know, it's not going to get in the end zone. We're not really going to make any changes about it. We're not going to really improve anything. It seems like we're totally fine with how everything is playing out, and everybody else judging us is dead wrong. We know what we're doing. Yep. And it's like, no, we're 32nd in third downs, 32nd in the red zone, 31st in touchdowns. It's like, at what point is there that wake-up call? I feel my biggest fear is that the defense is going to start not cashing in or selling out, but like they're going to start realizing, like, you know what, like this is a fantastic unit. The offense has such a long leash, and there's just no accountability for the offense side of the football. Because if you watch like the Saleh press conferences, like he'll bring up negatives about the defense. Like, oh, we could have done that a little bit differently, or could have come up with a play here. But it's like, if you're a defensive player listening to that, you're like, oh, like, dude, you got to be kidding me. Like we're every single week we're playing at a top tier level. If we have one small setback, we take one small step backwards, were, put on blast, but the offense can just look absolutely horrible, literally the worst in football for weeks on end, and there's no changes, no questions, nothing
because
being done
they're babying Zach Wilson, dude. They're babying him. It's the same thing as last year. They baby him to the point that the team quits on him. They're going to quit on him. They're going to look in the locker room and be like, we know we can't win with him. They have a leadership council. In that meeting, the players are like, bro, we cannot win with him. We know it. You can't put a skunk in front of the room and say, this is a cat. No, it's a skunk. We know exactly what it is, and it's not good. So they're one bad loss away, which could very well be this Sunday, where the team's gonna be like, bro, I'm done with this. Get this kid off the field because we know, but you're wasting our time. This is where you lose the locker room. And you made a really good point because the comment pissed me off too with Saleh. He's like, well, you know what? The defense had 4 more opportunities. They could have gave the ball to the offense more. Would it have really mattered? You're not scoring anyway. It's not like your offense is scoring 25. Can you imagine this offense scored 20 points a game? They'd have 3 more wins.
Yeah. Yep.
Right? Dude, it's like you're not asking for a lot. You're saying be competent. And the fact they're not holding this kid accountable, everybody's gonna be like, wait, you're talking about me, not like Michael Clemens, like he should have fell on the ball. You're pinpointing him out on that. Meanwhile, Zach is missing throws. He's fumbling the ball. The offense is the worst in football, and it's not even close. Saleh's got to stop playing this game, dude. It's not going to work. It's going to backfire on him. It's not sustainable. The defense is playing at an all-time great level, right? The problem is they're going to have an off week. And then what happens? The Jets get blown out, and then you're like, oh, the defense sucks? No. They've been carrying you this entire season, right? And then it's like, so you go, and then the offense, it's like we focus on Zach, the offensive line. The wide receiver group is a disaster. Allen Lazard is a bona fide disappointment for the money he's making. And the concern coming out of Green Bay was he makes a lot of good catches, but he has drops that will drive you crazy. Not only does he have drops, he has penalties now too, where you're like, all right, he's having a horrible season. Randall Cobb is hurt. Jason Brownlee wasn't even active. So that wide receiver group that we had some kind of confidence in, I know the whole Corey Davis thing caught everybody by surprise, is not good. But here's the thing. You could have made a trade at the trade deadline. You could have made a move. I know you chased Devontae Adams and Mike Evans. They're the only 2 guys in the NFL to upgrade this team? No. But the Jets doubled down. You know what? We're good where we're at. Are you really, though? Because you're Garrett Wilson and a bunch of guys. And a lot of these guys aren't catching passes right now. And then you go to the tight end group where I'm a Conklin fan. I like Conklin. He didn't do anything to the fourth quarter. And then what happened to Ruckert? Where's he at? It's just maybe we overhyped these guys. You made that point before. Maybe we thought they're better than they are. I thought the Jets had enough talent offense to be productive, even with Zach Wilson, that you have a legitimate passing offense with a serious scheme that gets guys open and they catch the ball. So now it's either guys aren't getting open, which is a problem, or they're getting open and Zach can't see them, or they're dropping the pass. Right? That's what else? There's nothing else to I don't even know how to even handle this anymore. The Giant game was terrible, and this is just as bad, dude. And now, what? How do you go into the Raider game with any kind of confidence in this offense? You can't. It's impossible.
Well, it's like you literally just were going on and on about the wide receiving core being thin, just having Garrett Wilson. The only trade that Douglas made was getting rid of McCole Hardman, the Super Bowl champion, the fastest player on the team, the best deep threat on the team, for a guy that was just brought in months ago. They got rid of him for a 2025 6th round pick.
Yep.
I mean, is it fair to ask the question, will Joe Douglas even be making that selection? Why? It just seems like, and I think I actually said this in a video today. To me, it seems with the lack of urgency, with the lack of intensity, lack of fire, lack of accountability from Saleh, from this coaching staff, from the front office, it seriously seems to me like Douglas and Saleh were given 5-year extensions and it just hasn't hit the public yet. It's like they're operating on this 4-year plan. It's like, you can look across the league at how many teams start the rebuilding process.
Right.
Maybe that first year is always tough. And then by year 2, year 3, you're starting, you're really building, you're in the thick of it. And now it's and again, I understand that Rodgers, he's the core piece, the centerpiece in this whole thing, and he gets hurt. But then it's what does that say about the roster building? What does that say about all of the draft picks, all of the draft classes coming in, all of the free agent acquisitions? If one player goes down, the entire season, the entire unit of the football is absolutely horrendous. To me, that's just not, it's just not a viable excuse in my opinion.
No. But the other thing too is, I think back because when you went back to Hard Knocks, and remember when Ulbrich was showing the tape to his team, and he was showing Aaron Rodgers makes these throws. He's like, "That's our quarterback. 8's our guy." He's showing all these quarterbacks.
Yep.
When Saleh and the staff sits down with the team and they show the film of this offense, how does he look the players in the face and say, "This kid gives us the best chance to win"? How does he do it with a straight face? Like they've got to be coached. Like, are you nuts? Look at all the and so it's like. Early in the season, we're like, all right, learning curve. He wasn't supposed to play. He's got to learn the offense. He's got to figure it out, get used to his teammates. All right, those excuses are all gone now. And you saw glimpses, the Eagle game, the Chief game, like, all right, maybe this kid's finally figured it out. But now he's regressing. Now it's getting worse because defenses are now adjusting to what we're doing. You show what you're going to do on tape. They learn, they adjust. You have to adjust yourself, and now the kid's overwhelmed. What I don't understand, and the argument we get all the time is, well, Tim Boyle sucks. That's what everybody keeps telling me, right? Okay, how do we know?
And why is he here? That's the question. It's like if Tim Boyle is that bad to where he's unplayable, to where you have literally the worst offensive football, and you literally will not make a QB change. You will not give him reps in practice with the ones. If he is that bad, why wasn't Bridgewater an option? Why wasn't Brissett an option, or Minshew, or any of these veterans? Right at the trade deadline, Josh Dobbs threw for how many TDs the other day? Freaking won the game on short notice. He did the same thing in Arizona. Josh Dobbs is not a top 10 quarterback, but it's like, imagine if we just had done. I mean, I can't believe, whatever, it's week 10 and we're talking about like us like dreaming about having like Josh Dobbs as like the team's quarterback, like how much better we would be. But it's like that's my biggest. That's why I'm stumped about this whole thing. It's like I just don't. It seriously feels like there's like a mandate or like this rule in place where it's just like, no, Wilson was the second overall pick. He must play. And I'm not saying that if you pull Wilson and you start Simeon or start Boyle, that all the problems are fixed and everything is smooth sailing, but at least you're swinging the bat.
You respect it more.
Saleh's striking out looking here.
Bro, you respect it more. You say, you know what? Just by saying we're going to give Tim Boyle starting reps, or you know what? We're going to elevate somebody from the practice squad. All right, the Jets actually they act like they're trying to win. Because right now they're not acting like it. They're just doubling down on Zach, like he's the guy, this and that. I'd have a lot more respect for them. And like, listen, we don't know what Tim Boyle is, right? We had no idea what Mike White is, but it's worth a shot. And the thing is, if you don't want to bench Zach on Sunday, fine. But they're not going to do that. Put him on a short leash. Listen, kid, you got the first half, man, because we cannot keep losing games. And if Tim Boyle comes in and bombs out, okay, guess what? You're out. Trevor Simeon's up. Like the NFL is about winning, dude. Like, isn't that what we're supposed to be worried about? Not worried about egos and psyches and Zach Wilson's career. I don't care about that. And the thing is, and to the ones that are listening that always argue about, like, well, Tim Boyle sucks and Simeon sucks. We're not looking for a superstar quarterback. We need a mediocre quarterback that can just manage the offense and score 17 points a week. That's all we need. Maybe 20. Like, we're not asking for a superstar, dude, because this defense is that good. You know what I mean? Like, if you can put together drives and score, here's that word we haven't talked about in a while, a touchdown. How about we score those? If they can do that, it's a difference. And if they come in and they bomb out, so like just say Zach gets benched on Sunday at halftime, right? And Tim Boyle comes in, whatever. You can say, listen, we needed a spark. We wanted to give it a try. It didn't work out. Zach starts next week. That's all. I'd respect that. I have no problem with that whatsoever, instead of watching 4 quarters of slop.
Yeah. And again, if you put yourself in the shoes of a defensive player, it could be whoever. Yeah, Tanzel Smart. It could be a top guy, Gardner. Like, you're coming out of halftime. If you bench Wilson and you make a change for Boyle, and even if it doesn't work out, I guarantee you that defensive player is probably thinking like, you know what, our coach has our back. Like he's rallying the 53-man roster.
Yes.
Not pertaining towards one player. And again, that was kind of the point of what I was talking about before, which is like, it seems like Saleh has this 4-year leash, or like that he's going to be here for the next 4 or 5 seasons. I mean, to me, if the Jets get 5 wins this season, 6 wins, and we just we continue losing the same exact way all season, I think I'm at the point where I would clean house. Like, yeah, I just don't have the faith in, just like, I mean, because I don't want to keep making the Todd Bowles comparison, but there's a lot of similarities where like Bowles wouldn't give any input offensively, couldn't develop Sam Darnold, really focused on the defense side of the football. Granted, the defenses were great. They do what they do, develop players, this and that. That's awesome. But ultimately, why did Todd Bowles get fired in the end. Just consistently staying the same, a little bit worse, a little bit better, a little bit worse, consistent, never really showing the improvement, never really showing anything offensive. I think we ran through like 3 offensive coordinators, John Morton, Bates, and Chan Gailey. And Gailey was a beast, but you know what? Like, up there in age, it's understandable why Gailey. I believe I think they actually fired Gailey, if I'm not mistaken.
I think so. Yeah.
But whatever, water under the bridge. It just seems like it's kind of the same thing playing out here, although their defenses are completely different scheme wise. It's just, players coach, defense side of the football. We're going to have guys develop. But what does Saleh bring offensively? Nothing. Does he develop the quarterback? No. It's all on the offensive coordinator. And one last point, then I'll let you go ahead. And one thing I really, really want to say is that if you take a step back and look at it from like a macro perspective, hindsight being 2020. I mean, it sounds weird saying hindsight 2020 because like we kind of knew this in the offseason, but you were looking at the Jets, right? 2022, one of the worst offenses in football. What did the team do minus Aaron Rodgers to fix it? They fired their OC. They put all the blame on him. He didn't get along with Zach. Couldn't coach Zach. Zach didn't get along with him. He's the reason why he didn't develop. They hired, and according to Saleh, I think he interviewed like 10 candidates or had like 11 candidates or whatever. And he got his guy, Hackett. You bring in the one coach that gets fired on the offense side of the football that couldn't make it work with Russ, with Judy, with Sutton, with all these different guys, literally got fired not even one season into a multi-year head coaching deal. Why did he get fired? Because he could not figure out the offense side of the football, and there was zero accountability in Denver. That's the guy who's entrusted to develop Zach behind Rodgers, call the offense, install the offense, game plan throughout the week. And then beneath Hackett, you bring in Todd Downing and Keith Carter, both from Tennessee. Both were let go. Both were a part of one of the worst offenses in all of football in the Tennessee Titans that continued to just sink with the ship and do the same thing week after week after week after week. And here we are again, where it's like shaky offensive coordinator, shaky offensive staff. Zach Wilson is starting again. And from Saleh's standpoint, it just seems like nothing is going to get done. Nothing is going to happen. I mean, we saw Mike White light it up, and we could have brought him back. I'm not going to sit here and say, oh, we should have, because, I wasn't saying that at the time. But it's like, what if Simeon's like Mike White?
Exactly.
What if he comes in and provides a spark? And if not, it's like, okay, well, we're back to square one and we'll go back to Zach, or we'll keep trying with Trevor, or we'll flip it over to Boyle or something. Like, let's just do something differently. If we're like, don't strike out looking, at least swing the bat. You never know what can happen if you swing the bat.
Yeah, that's the thing is, like, you look and say, we kind of forget last year because we were so excited about Aaron Rodgers. Look at how they ended the season last year. They were in the mix. They were in a playoff hunt and in a chance of going for the AFC East title, and they completely melted in a historic fashion where all these must-win playoff games, they didn't even show up. The Thursday night game out in Seattle, it was a debacle. And it's like, all right, is Saleh a leader of men, or is he a cheerleader? What are we doing here? Because when push came to shove, his team got shoved around and he lost. But it's like, all right, it was the quarterback. Okay, so you had a chance to figure out what it was. They go out and get Aaron Rodgers. Fine. But once he gets hurt, it doesn't mean mail the season in. You need to have an insurance policy. Your insurance policy was Zach Wilson. So the thing with Hackett was like, well, because like when he was first hired, I was like, oh, we better get Rodgers because his resume is this. But everybody's like, dude, he made Blake Bortles good. He did this and he did that. All right. Well, if he did all these great things, all these bad quarterbacks, and he's getting nothing out of Zach, why is Zach still playing? That's my question. And the further question I have is, like, now there's like Saleh embarrasses himself the last 2 days in press conferences. He's really making an ass of himself by just talking. Like, just turn down the press conference and keep saying these stupid things. When he pleaded the fifth on the Michael Kay show, I'm like, bro, what are you doing? So now you have a conspiracy out there where it's like, all right, maybe Saleh's hands are tied. This is Joe Douglas saying, you know what? You've got to play this kid. Or maybe even worse, maybe it's Woody Johnson saying, keep playing this kid. I want to see what he can do. We're spending a lot of money on him. Either way, it's organizational incompetence. So now the only way Zach got benched last year is because the team almost had they were ready to riot. They're done with him. And then he played so bad, we're like, we have no choice because the fans will come to the games and we're getting blasted all across the world. When was the last time you saw Troy Aikman be that negative on a broadcast, dude? He was shredding the Jets. And they doubled down again, be like, no, we're making progress. There's some good, there's some bad. No. So here you are, and now you're going into a game against the Raiders where it's like more questions than answers on so many levels on offense. And that the most telling comment to me was Garrett Wilson talking about the defense, where he was embarrassed. He's like, these guys are my dogs, man. Like, I love these guys. And I have to look them in the eye and be like, I'm sorry, man. Like, I'm sorry we're letting you down. Can you imagine, how long is Garrett Wilson going to want to tolerate that? Walking in every day and be like, sorry, dude. Sorry we can't score points for you. He's a prideful guy, man. He was poised for a huge year this year, right, with Aaron Rodgers. And I know never his wildest dreams I think he'd be this limited with production, right? Or even Breece Hall. Like, they're looking at their teammates being like, sorry, man, like, we want to help you, but guess who's holding us back? It's the quarterback. Like, everybody knows, dude. So Saleh's in a tough spot, dude. Like, I'm down on him. I'm down on their handling it because it's not like he has an extensive history of winning. It's not like Saleh's won 10 games, 11 games, 12 games. He has all this winning background, and this is like the first time he's going through this. No, he's already been through this before, and he handled it terribly. And he's doing the same thing again. So is it a Saleh thing? Is it a Saleh Douglas thing? Like, where do you, like, who makes a decision on the quarterback? I have a funny feeling maybe it's not him, dude.
Yeah, I mean, that's literally, dude, that's the only logical explanation for what's transpiring here. Yep. Or they're watching Boyle and Simeon in practice and saying these guys are absolutely unplayable, which then it would fall on Joe Douglas. But at that point, if you're Saleh, you got to beat down Douglas's door and say, we got to get somebody else. We got to go. Carson Wentz just signed the other day. Brett Rippon, you could have brought in Wentz.
Yep.
Brett Rippon, has experience with Hackett.
Yep.
Known for being a smarter guy, can pick up a system. He's out in the open market right now. There was a rumor that the Jets were interested in him or interested in trading for him. Go ahead.
Tim Boyle's been your backup since week 2. If you knew he sucked week 2, the change should have been made then. If he's that bad, you know what he is. It's not like, because it's not like a lot of practice time changes over the last 4 or 5 weeks. You kind of know what the player is. If you're that scared of him, this move should have happened 6 weeks ago, right? If you're that scared to play him, right?
Yeah,
there's no other reason behind it.
And like another thing too, it's like in the Saleh presser, I think it was before the Charger game, he made this comment where he said that like the offense at some point is going to click.
Yeah,
and
yep.
I forget the exact context of it, the exact verbiage that he used, but it was something along the lines of that, where it was just like, we're close, we're getting there. Yep. When it does click, it's going to be awesome. And my follow-up question, right, if I was a reporter there, I would say, it's week 10. Like it should, and it's not like Wilson missed the first, he missed training camp and he's still trying to come back, or he didn't get any preseason snaps or anything like that. He was in the building working with Hackett from the jump.
Yep.
And Rodgers is there too, helping Zach out. And again, I'm not putting it all on Zach, because I look at the offensive line. I look at Lazard dropping multiple passes. I look at CJ Uzomah just dropping a wide open TD in the end zone to end the game. And it just bounces right off of him. Dalvin Cook has been a disappointment.
Yep.
Hackett's calling plays, the personnel decisions, all these different things. Where's the depth? So I'm not going to just solely put it on Zach. Is he part of the problem? Yes. But I don't think it's as simple as just remove Zach Wilson, insert whoever we want, and the Jets are going to be, back in the wild card race. I think this week against the Raiders, again, unfortunately on primetime football, if the Jets lose to Vegas here, and the offense looks the same thing that it's been looking like these past couple of weeks, I think that heat is really going to start to warm up for Saleh. The hot seat, it's going to start getting more. It's going to start becoming a major talking point, in my opinion. Because at this point, we're going to be 4-5 with losses to the Charger, 2 back-to-back AFC games.
Bingo.
Still have to play Buffalo again. Still have to play Miami twice.
Yep.
And it's unfortunate. So you just hope that at least there's just not much time left.
Nope.
We're past the halfway point of the season. We should be way beyond the point of trying to make it click offensively. Yep. And look, the Jets can go on a win streak. Maybe Saleh's a prophet here and knows exactly what he's talking about, and the offense just pops off and it all clicks this Sunday. That's what I'm hoping for. But in the event that it doesn't, what happens? Are we going to see the same stuff? Are we going to be okay with losing? Are we going to be okay averaging 16.5 points per game and being 32nd in the red zone and 31st in touchdowns per game? Is it just going to continue on? And the fans and the media members and the other teams, the other defensive coordinators, everybody else is wrong. We know what we're doing offensively. Is that what's going to continue?
Yeah, and Sundays it's a must win. You got to beat the Raiders, dude. You've got to right the ship and figure it out. And it's just, and you made an interesting point before. And I'm sorry this is so negative, dude. Because I'm really, I'm just really pissed off because that we like as fans we deserve better because we've seen this, and it's like you watch this defense play this great. You have studs and Jermaine Johnson and Bryce Huff. They're playing ridiculously great. Like the defense we've always wanted, we finally have. They used to start out slow. Now they're playing fast in the first quarter. Like they make adjustments. They're great. And you're watching it and you're like, we're a quarterback away. That's all we are to being a very, very good team. And the thing is, once Aaron Rodgers goes down, that should not give Saleh a pass to not be a good coach the rest of the year, to not motivate his team, to not hold guys accountable, and to not find ways to win. Because teams all across the NFL deal with adversity and they find ways to win. So sometimes you got to make it work. You got to figure it out, right? And Sunday's a must win, and there's no way around it. They lose this game, the wheels are going to fall off. The locker room is going to be divided. We're going to be crazy, but the media, because everybody's circling now. Because now Saleh's digging holes for himself he can't get out of. And now the only way to quiet everybody, we always talk about winning is a great deodorant. You got to find a way to win this game. If you lose to the Raiders with a rookie quarterback, bro, you've got problems, man. And then you start wondering. And then the one X factor in all of this is Aaron Rodgers, right? Because you figure he's going to want to come back to play with Hackett as his offensive coordinator. So is that like is he the golden goose that's keeping Saleh comfortable? Like, you know what? Aaron's coming back next year, and I know he's not going to come back and play for anybody else but me and Hackett. So if things go wrong, okay. Like, did they have assurances? Did he feel that comfortable right now?
Yeah, I mean, I think that does make sense. Like, that's logical. It's realistic to think about. We don't know what the conversations are, behind closed doors, behind the curtain. But I'll say this: I don't want that quality in a head coach of an NFL football team where it's like, again, it's what happens to the other 52, 51 other guys in the locker room.
Yep.
How would Jordan Whitehead take that message? How would Tony Adams take that message, or Quincy Williams, or whoever you want to talk about? How would Garrett Wilson take it? Breece Hall? Oh yeah, we're waiting on Rodgers to get back because we just can't do anything without him. It's like that's the position that we're in. Like if Joe Burrow goes down for Cincinnati, you think Zach Taylor is gonna, all right, kick his feet up? We're good.
No.
We're fine with seven wins this year.
No,
absolutely not. Same thing with Mahomes and Andy Reid, right? And also, I feel like with those teams, because Zach Taylor started out horrible records and whatnot, picking at the top of the if Burrow were to get hurt, the Bengals as an organization would not completely implode. And I'm not saying that the Jets have imploded. Again, we're 4-4, we're 500.
Yep.
Look, if we win tomorrow or next Sunday, we're going to be 5-4 and have another AFC win under our belt. It's even if the offense struggles, it's tough to kind of put the pressure on Saleh. But again, I'm at the point to where we know exactly what the Jets are. Great defense, really good special teams, poor offensive play. And I feel like in the games that we do get like spikes of production offensively, we look dominant.
Yep.
Like in those fourth quarters, or where Zach is like, driving on like a hurry up 2 minute.
Yep.
Like if we can play with that sort of efficiency from quarters 1 to 4, like we would. I mean, we've talked a lot about this. Like we would be actually a really, really, really good football team. I still feel like we are a good football team. Like we have talent, we have the production on special teams and defense. It's just when the offense is so coming up short over and over and over and over and over and over again, and there's injuries, and you don't have a good play caller, and you have unproductive quarterback play.
Yep.
Not much help at wide receiver, older tight ends. It's like the amount of problems just continue to stack until it's just overwhelming. And I think that's exactly what we're seeing with all these different numbers. And it's disappointing. I wish we weren't in this position. I wish we were talking about a win here.
But the thing is, all the things you talked about, what hides that? Quarterback play. Look, I mean, a good quarterback can hide your offensive line issues. It can hold your receivers accountable to dropping passes. Like, you can be the leader. You can handle the adversity. Like just say, for example, if Aaron Rodgers is healthy right now, I guarantee you can offset a lot of these issues just with arm talent, leadership, and just managing the game. Zach cannot do that. And that's just a fact. They tried it. Now they're trying to talk to him in his headset. He's trying to audible. He's trying to do all these things. It's not working, right? So you find, like you mean tell me Trevor Siemian can't do that? Like, just manage an offense? Like, we're not asking for a lot. It's, you know what I mean? It's wild that we're here. And now you got to hope. Like, I was shocked this game happened the way it did. I kind of had this blind faith in Zach that, like, all right, it's a very good pass, a very bad passing defense, right? Like, you're like, there should be opportunities to passing in to make plays. They should score up points to win, and we move on. We get a win, and we're going to start rolling. And they're going backwards now. And now you're getting concerned where it's like, all right, is Max Crosby going to have 5 sacks this weekend? Like, you know, what are we, like, you don't.
Yes, especially coming off the right side too.
It's just,
you know, and like another question, another random weird question that we are forced to ask, you know, if Dwayne Brown comes back, is Mekhi Becton now going to be shifting back over to the right side of the offensive line?
100%. He's already hinting towards that. He's already hinting towards that. And Becton's going to be like, all right, you know what, I'll be a team player. But it's just so, there's so many questions, man.
Yeah, like, it's nothing against Mekhi. It's just like, here we are again with another player on the offensive line moving. I'm all for versatility, but it's like when it just kind of feels like we're looking at like names and we're like writing them down on like a whiteboard. Like, all right, who's going to be the right guard this week? I guess he gives us the best chance here. You know, even though he's played tackle, we're going to play him at guard, and we're going to move this guy over to here and swap. It's just like, if you're the offensive lineman, you're probably like, can I just be in a normal situation, please, where I'm just lining up at one position for, you know, the majority of the season. If you really need me to play guard, we have some injuries, fine, I'll step in and play and try to, you know, do my best. But it just, being an offensive lineman on the Jets is just like, all right, you got to master all 4 or 5 positions. You have to be comfortable playing on the left side, right side on short notice. It's just wild.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's just, Sunday's going to be interesting, man. Like, we always do like the game preview videos and all this stuff. And I'm like, I honestly don't know how to preview this game for you. I can never tell you. The defense has been incredible. And it's funny how people are like trying to question Quinnen Williams and stuff like that. I'm like, I don't care about Quinnen Williams half sack. Quinnen Williams is a disruptive force, and he's occupying the middle, and all these guys on the edge are creating havoc. I'm not worried about him. We know what the defense is. We know how they can handle it. Like, even Devontae Adams, they can slow down the Raider offense. I'm not worried about that. But we have no idea what this offense is going to do. We don't know if they can score points, if they can't score points, will they turn the ball over? You know, and you got to figure that Zach's feeling a tremendous amount of pressure now, where he's like, the world's caving in on me. Does he either, like, I wish he would get just pissed off, to be honest with you, and be like, you know what? I'm done with this. I'm going to play my game. I'm going to start throwing the ball around. I'd rather see that than like a timid, scared quarterback. Like, go down in flames, dude. Like, go big or go home at this point. Like, give us your best, right? Like, don't you kind of want to see that out of him?
100%. And that's kind of the same thing that I wanted to see out of Gino at the end of his tenure. Just like, screw it. Like, I'm just going to do me. It was funny. I was watching an interview with DeShone Kizer, Notre Dame, Cleveland.
Yeah.
And he was, just talking about his career and whatnot. And the question came up of, obviously, like, now out of the league, maybe stuff that he would do differently. And he was talking about how in camp as a rookie, as a second year guy in Cleveland, I think it was his rookie season where he went winless. Hugh Jackson would just drill Andy Dalton tape every single week. Just, you got to be Andy Dalton. You got to be Andy Dalton. He's, executes the offense perfectly back with, when Hugh was in Cincy. And Kizer was just like, it helped. It was obviously like Dalton ran that offense really, really well. And, it was awesome to watch. But he was saying how, looking back, he just wishes that instead of going down with Cleveland, trying to be Andy Dalton or a quarterback that he's not, he just wishes that if he could go back, he would go out being DeShone Kizer and try to play his style of football. And Zach literally has that in his fingertips. I know it's a lot easier said than done, right? If he doesn't like a play, screw it. I'm calling my thing. Or if, I want to bail out of the pocket, I'm bailing out of the pocket. If I want to send somebody on like a pre-snap audible deep, because I like the look, I don't care what Hackett says, I'm doing it anyway. he has that ability. I know it again. I know it's tough for him to do that because then if it doesn't go well, it's just like, man, even more pressure. But again, if the ship is going down, I want Wilson out there slinging it, show off the arm strength, freaking spin it. Who even cares if you throw a pick? Just, show off the mobility, show off the playmaking stuff. That's where I feel like Wilson is at his best. The runs down the field, the bootleg play action where he can just throw on the run, like barely looks like he's trying, and it's like a perfect pass deep down the field. I still think about that pass to Corey Davis. I think it was like it was against the Titans his rookie year. So effortless. And it's like, why am I thinking about one play from his rookie year? And we just we don't play to Zach's strength. Like the whole thing is just crazy. But the point is, I'm with you. I want to see like a switch up from Zach, like change the helmet style, wear like black sleeves, and just like, this is my team now. I'm playing how I want to play. If I go out in flames, then I go out in flames. This thing's going down anyway. But you know what? It's not going down like this on my watch. That's the mentality that I want Zach to have.
Yeah, 100%. Like he's a robot now. He's like programmed to do certain things. And it's just like, all right, like even like when they like Saleh's like, well, we went up tempo. Well, you really didn't go up tempo. You got to the line first, and then you audible for 20 seconds, and he still had 3 seconds. Like it wasn't like up tempo. It's like I was like, come on, man. Like let this kid, like you just want to see something snap with him. Like he just gets pissed off like enough. Like
just launches his helmet or something.
And he's demoralized. He's frustrated. Like, dude, throw your helmet, get man on the sideline, and just start playing some angry football. Just start throwing darts, dude. Like have that, like, because like it's like that instinct, that fighter instinct. I don't think he has it, man. But you just want to see it. Like, dude, get pissed off. You get like the Jets finally got a late hit call for the first time in what 20 years or whatever it is. But it's like, get mad, dude. Like and the team will rally around that. The thing that Mike White had was that energy and that leadership and that passion. It was instant. The minute he came in the huddle, everybody's demeanor changed. You saw it, dude. It was tangible. And Zach doesn't have that. He doesn't have to be some rah-rah guy and do all kinds of crazy stuff. But like, dude, bring it to like, you know what? I'm tired of being picked on. I'm tired of being pushed around. I'm tired of being discounted. Let me show you who I really am. And I'm going to go down with my, like, I'd respect it more than watching this, dude. Seriously. Because it's not, the Jets right now are unwatchable. And that's the most frustrating thing where, like, I was talking to somebody yesterday. It's like, you watch Cowboys Eagles. That was fun. Bills Bengals. That's fun. You watch the Jets. It's like watching paint dry. It's like excruciating. You're like, I cannot believe how bad this game is. Penalties, drop passes, pre-snap penalties, which is just a lack of just, paying attention, concentration. It's just, so they've got an opportunity to silence us all on Sunday and bounce back in a big way and be like, all right, we had our speed bump. Now we're righting our ship. But if they don't, dude, it's going to get ugly. It's going to get so ugly around here.
Dude, I feel like I could I feel like I can guarantee if Zach goes out there and say he throws a pick, right? And he gets off the field, gets on the sideline and just whips his helmet at the bench, or not freak out, but maybe he has words with Hackett. Like, what the hell is that? Like, what do you want me to do here? Like, play call, whatever. Or he gets in the face of a defender, or he runs with the football and instead of just, taking a step out of bounds, he stays in and tries to level a safety, gets up, fired up, kind of like a Baker Mayfield or a Josh Allen, fire everybody up, fire the fans up. Even if he has a bad game, the players in the locker room, and at least, from my perspective as a fan, I can say, hey, you know what? Like, this guy, like, he cares. He's out there fighting, as opposed to just, and I get it, not everybody's like that. And it's a lot easier for me to sit here and say that as opposed to doing it on the game, on the field on Sunday. But yeah, I mean, I that's something that I want to see, like the fire, the aggression, right? Like, I hate losing. I'm sick of it. Like, this sucks. I'm not like, the only way to dig yourself out of the hole is to keep on pushing, keep on throwing, tell Hackett, I'm not running that play. 100%. This whole 15-yard box offense, scratch it. I'm not doing it anymore. Call me plays down the field. Get me outside the pocket. If you're not going to call it, I'm just going to audible to it, and you're going to have to deal with it.
And this is where Aaron Rodgers should be a resource. And be like, listen, dude, like if he can't talk to Hackett, tell Aaron Rodgers, tell Hackett, listen, dude, I don't like these plays. I cannot play to my ability. Like, Aaron Rodgers is supposed to be like this, the overseer of the offense. He knows it inside out and backwards. He can help Zach. They have similar games, which is not even close, but it's like, all right, like, sit there and be like, listen, this isn't working. Like, let me be me. Let me open up. Let me just do something here. Because it's just like, and to me, it's like, this is Zach's career's on the line. Like, to me, we talked about this the Kansas City game. I'm like, dude, this could be the end of Zach if he doesn't play well. And he bought a couple more weeks, but now he's to that point again where, like, dude, like he knows like everybody's looking at him, like he's under the radar now, where it's like, all right, instead of being like timid and like, man, I cannot believe we're so bad, be pissed off, dude. Like, show us what you're made of and just prove us all wrong, because this team desperately needs it. And if you can't do it, we've got to move on as soon as possible, which means either halftime or the following week, because we can't let the season go down like this. You can't. It's just discrediting a great defense, dude. You don't want to do that.
Yeah, I mean, like, I think again, a part of that too is the record being 500.
Yep.
You know, if we're 4-5, is the season over? Absolutely not. Nope. But if you're 2-6, you drop the game against the Raiders this Sunday. Now all of a sudden, what, you're 2-7? Yeah, season's over. It is what it is. Like, players, everybody's going to start selling and throwing their hands up and stuff. I mean, man, if we win, we're 5-4. We lose, we're 4-5. The season is still 3 wild card teams make it. You know what I mean? Buffalo is not really looking all that great. New England is obviously, experiencing a ton of trouble. Miami just, lost the other day. Like, it's not out of the realm of possibilities to, when we just look at numbers, to say, hey, and the Jets beat Buffalo. They struggle every single time they play New England, but the point is, the season still is within arm's. The playoffs are still within arm's reach. But will something change if things continue the way they are?
And that's the frustrating thing, dude. And that's why I'm so mad, because the Jets are in the mix. Like, we're all saying, like, I stupidly thought they're going to beat the Chargers. I thought they're going to beat them. I'm like, dude, this team's is going to make a run here, and everybody in the AFC lost. The AFC lost. You're like, oh, this is perfect. Like, they have such an opportunity in front of them. And that's why it just makes you crazy, because it's like, you don't want to see it go to waste. Like, you like, the AFC is a mess, dude. Everybody's losing. The Ravens are surprising everybody, but everybody looks beatable, dude. It's not like you have confidence, especially when you have this kind of defense. That's why you're so frustrated with it. But like I said, they win on Sunday. We'll quiet down. We'll be happy, but the concerns are growing now. The concerns are growing on the field. They're growing off the field in terms of leadership and how they're handling themselves. So we'll see, man. I don't know. It just makes you so nervous, man, how this is going right now.
Yeah, massive game this Sunday. Anything else more that you wanted to add before we head on out of here?
I apologize for an hour rant, dude. I've been pissed for 2 days now. Like, I can't help it. Like, right? You can't help it. Like, because you look forward to the game all week long, right? You cannot wait. You're like, Monday Night Football. This is so exciting. This is our team, and they play like that. You're like, that mindset comes back. You're like, well, I've seen this before. We just saw it last year too. So you kind of get disheartened, and you need something to give you the fire back. And what's not helping it is that Saleh in these press conferences is talking like a demoralized head coach, pulling out some nonsense excuses and talking in circles, where you want to see him rise to the occasion a little bit. Like, don't be all gloomy and stuttering and giving us your textbook corporate answer that Woody Johnson gave you. Be your man and own it, and be a little fiery now, because your team needs it. They're feeding off his energy, right? And right now his energy's been terrible in the press conferences. So, gonna be interesting, dude. This is I don't know what happened in this game. What's the spread in this game? Do you know?
I don't know.
This has got to be a 3-point spread, probably. I don't even know, but it's like, okay. So in your gut right now, I know you do preview videos and stuff, but in your gut, think the Jets will win on Sunday?
I think, actually, you know what? Let me say this before I answer. You know who I kind of want Saleh to act like? Antonio Pierce.
Yes.
Antonio Pierce. Boom. The minute that McDaniels got fired, Pierce took over. My team now.
Yep.
Pierce is not some top 5 head coach. Maybe he could be, this year. Or like, who knows how the season's going to play out.
Yep.
But you know what Antonio Pierce did? He stepped in and said, all this stuff that isn't working, we're done with it. Jimmy Garoppolo, not happening anymore. Aiden O'Connell, he's the starting guy.
Yep.
No questions asked. He's the best quarterback that we have. He's playing. I don't care what the fans say. This is what I've seen.
Yep.
And granted, they beat the Giants, and it's not like the Giants are world beaters or anything like that. But you just saw how, and even the defense too, right? Both sides of the football, they responded to Antonio Pierce's energy when he got hired isn't, I guess, the right word, but promoted to interim head coach.
Yep.
And you saw Pierce. I don't know if you caught his locker room speech.
Yeah, absolutely.
Freaking fired up, like just so excited for the guys. You could tell, former player. This guy's going to be a player's coach. and you just instantly tell these guys they gravitate towards him. And he's out there, cursing a bunch and yelling and hyping his guys up. Everybody's like kicking it afterwards. He's coaching his way. He's coaching like, this is my team now. What was going on before? Absolutely unacceptable. And we're not doing it that way anymore. Sorry, this is my team now. I'm the interim head coach. That's what I want to see from Saleh here. My team, unacceptable. Nobody wants to be the worst offensive football. It's not going to happen anymore. And I mean, it opens up the rabbit hole of how bad is everybody? How bad is Boyle? How about, so I don't even want to open it up.
But you need, what you need? You need the Hard Knocks Saleh now. The Hard Knocks Saleh that was cursing and all animated, all that stuff, all these little sound bites for HBO. You need that guy now in these press conferences, communicating to his team through the media. This is unacceptable. We're going to fix it as soon as possible. We're going to find every way to do it. Stop making excuses, because the team starts believing the excuses. That's the problem. That's my problem I have with him. They justify losing. They justify excuses. He's got to change his mindset, dude. He's got to he's under fire right now.
Yeah, so, and other teams watch the pressers too.
100%.
And it just sucks. So hopefully we turn it around. Hopefully the next time we're recording, it's 5-4, and we're coming off a great win, and Zach dominates. We'll be feeling a lot better.
I know you were scared of this. This is our longest one ever, because I know you were scared of me. That's why you avoided me yesterday. I know how you work,
bro. I'm gonna title this episode 12 rant, Jets rant in all caps. Tyson snaps. That's gonna be the title.
Imagine, you're lucky we didn't talk yesterday, because I was off the rails yesterday. Because I'm just,
I know. I wanted to. Dude. No, I mean, like, I think this is gonna be going up on Thursday. Normally, we try to get it up on Tuesday. Some stuff came up, but it's probably good that we wait. We had an extra day to kind of calm down and let it simmer.
Yeah, no, I appreciate your time, man. I love doing these, and thank you to everybody who gives us the feedback and listens to it and talks to us. I definitely appreciate it. It's just tough times, man. And the one thing that we always talk about with this is we're not gonna tell you things that we don't believe in our hearts. Like, this isn't like we're not gonna chase views and be like, oh, we're gonna give you pom poms. Like, this is how we honestly feel. Like, we talk tomorrow in a bar, I would tell you the same exact thing, right? So it's just, we're trying to be transparent as fans, and this is how we feel, and that's kind of how we do the show.
Yeah, I mean, that's the goal of the show. That was kind of my or really our mindset kind of going into it. Like, let's just be 100% transparent about what's going on and how we feel. No sugarcoating stuff. Although I still continue to bring up the 500 record, because I do feel like it's relevant. No matter what anybody says, we're 4-4. You're right. The 4 wins. No matter how they're coming, we're still getting them. We're still getting the W's in the in the winning column. But I think that's going to do it for us. I appreciate everybody hanging out. It's a longer one here. Let's see. Yeah, over an hour. So if you hung out to the end, I appreciate it. Like, you're the definition of a diehard Jets fan.
Yes, sir.
So cool. So I appreciate it. Thanks so much. And as always, go Jets.